Kanan is a demoness who crawled out of hell and into the human world with one goal: feed on souls. What she didn't see coming was a total pervert completely hijacking her heart. One day, Kanan slipped into a school, Who Knew Academy, in the city of Tama, a place packed with peaceful students, their little souls ripe and well-seasoned, exactly what she was looking for. Yuji stumbles in out of nowhere, dazed and still shaking from the spell that just broke over his eyes. He has absolutely no idea how he ended up here, looks around, and sees a literal dream standing right in front of him. Kanan steps forward and tells him he's the one who called her, with his own soul. With a sultry gaze, she explains she's here to devour him. She lets her true form bleed through, a dark demonic aura wrapping around her body, and introduces herself as the daughter of Beelzebub, the archdemon of gluttony. Then, in that sinister, silky voice, she tells Yuji to stop stalling and let her get a taste. And this guy bows and thanks her from the bottom of his heart. He is thrilled. Is Yuji seriously about to live out his dream of getting devoured by a girl in a devil costume? Kanan catches on to exactly what this absolute disaster of a human is thinking, and reminds herself that high school boys have one brain cell, and it's always in the gutter. She tries to assert dominance, calls him an idiot for even going there, but then she stops, thinks, waits. Actually, the moment right before devouring someone is the perfect time to steal a human soul. The only problem is that Kanan has zero experience with any of that. But before we go further, let's rewind a few months. Back in Kanan's home, she approaches a throne absolutely buried under mountains of food and says she has a request. Her father greets her with open arms, already inviting her to grab a snack. Kanan takes the opening to tell him that nothing has tasted like anything lately. Beelzebub gets worried on the spot. A dad who's literally the demon of gluttony can't exactly stay calm when his daughter has no appetite. Kanan pitches the solution, a place absolutely full of delicious things. What kind of things? Human souls, obviously. The big guy remembers trying something similar back in the day, but it ended in a brutal blowout with the angels. Kanan talks him down, says she'll do it differently, that it'll work out. And of course, Beelzebub can't say no to his daughter. But right before she leaves, he asks her something with real weight behind it. Kanan-chan, have you been eating with anyone lately? She smiles and says that good meals are private affairs. Back in the present, the human world has a new resident, Kanan, the gourmet demoness, gorgeous, magnetic, razor-sharp, talented, and built like a varsity athlete. She won over literally everyone at school, students, teachers, the whole faculty, and became the picture of perfection. Crushed it so hard she got elected president of the disciplinary committee. Kanan looks out at the academy like it's a ranch, and the students are her herd. Hungry, she starts hunting, searching for a soul with that extra kick, and then, whoa. That one right there has a color and a shine like nothing she's ever seen. That's definitely the one. Like a spell, Kanan's voice wraps around that soul, calling the human to come to her. Picking back up where Kanan was about to devour Yuji, the demoness starts breaking down exactly what she's going to do to him. First, peel away the outer layer, then work it with her fingers until it's firm and juicy. She delivers all of this with that dark, devastating stare. And finally, she tells him she's going to taste him herself, with her own mouth. Yuji, who is already pulling off his shirt, desperately begs Kanan to satisfy him. Kanan tries to pump the brakes on this unhinged individual, telling him this kind of thing is only done between people who really care about each other. Yuji absolutely torches her argument, says that's not a problem at all because he fell for her the second he saw her. And then, all innocent-faced, he asks, "Is that why you called me, Kanan? Because you're in love with me?" Kanan sits with that. She's never fallen for anyone before. She starts looking Yuji up and down, actually taking in the guy's whole situation, and realizes he's exactly her type. "I love you, I love you, I love you," Yuji repeats, charging toward her. Kanan feels completely cornered by the sheer chaos of this person. 1,000 thoughts racing. Would it even be okay for the daughter of Beelzebub to catch feelings for some basic human? Then out of nowhere, Yuji pulls back, gets dressed again, and admits he was pushing way too hard. To ease the tension, he asks for just one thing, for Kanan to melt a popsicle with her mouth. The demoness, absolutely horrified by the level of degeneracy in front of her, shuts that down instantly. So the guy makes a different ask, a much simpler one. He asks her out. Kanan, a little flustered, says yes. Yuji completely loses it with excitement, fixes himself up real quick and heads out. Kanan stands there staring into the void thinking, what in the actual hell kind of contract did I just sign? In class, Masaru brings up a shrine cleanup happening over the weekend and asks Yuji if he's coming. He says he'll probably be busy. Sorry, Masaru. That name sets her off immediately. She can't stand being called that. She goes by Nadeko. She snaps that Yuji was wide open all year and now suddenly has plans. Doing what? The guy says it plain and simple. I have a girlfriend now. Oh, that explains it. Nadeko sits back down. 2 seconds later, wait, what? Yuji got a girlfriend? She's completely blindsided. Never in a million years did she think this goofy nerd would pull that off. She asks if they at least call each other by their first names. Yuji reacts like she just asked him the most important question in the universe. Kanan is at the academy window, eyeing her next meal like a chef surveying the kitchen. Then Yuji materializes out of thin air, scared her half to death. Kanan yelps and hits the floor, demanding to know if he can please stop appearing out of nowhere like that. Senpai, please call me by my first name. Kanan's confused at first, but gets it. He wants that intimacy. The demoness gets a little flustered dealing with this guy's nerve, but then it clicks. This is the perfect power move. The shy look sharpens into something commanding. Yuji is vibrating with anticipation. Kanan almost finds it cute, watching him squirm like that. She plays it up like it's a huge moment. Yo, nothing. She was too embarrassed to get it out. She mentally rehearses it, tries again. Same result. The words just die in her throat. Yuji picks up on exactly what's happening, which only makes Kanan more flustered. So she flips it, tells him to say her name since he's the one who started this. Kanan. That was enough to shatter her internally. She turns into an absolute mess. In her head, this perverted human wanted the thrill of saying her name out loud. Yuji says it again, and it's like she breaks all over again every single time she hears it. Then he leans in close to her ear and whispers it softly. Kanan is done. If this keeps up, she's going to completely fall for her own prey. Yuji goes to whisper it again, and catches the most devastating slap she's ever thrown. The kind of slap a mom delivers after checking her kid's search history. Kanan gets up to leave, but right before she goes, she finally says his name. Yuji short-circuits entirely. He shouts her name back, and Kanan face plants onto the floor. Walking down the stairs, still not fully recovered, Kanan spots a couple in the hallway and tells them to break it up. Dating on school grounds is against the rules, and she is the disciplinary committee president. She glances around and starts thinking about how wild high school students are. No self-control, no filter, their minds in the gutter around the clock. With a savoring expression, she appreciates every little soul just waiting to be consumed by her. Yuji pops up behind her again. Another jump scare. Kanan asks what he wants. He says that since they're a couple, they should spend as much time together as possible. The words leave Kanan completely off balance, but then his next question hits like a truck. Yuji wanted to know where they'd have their first time. Kanan is horrified. This shameless creature couldn't even be bothered to suggest dinner first. She pulls herself together and, with full authority, asks him where he thinks it should be. His answer: the park, out in the open. The demoness calls him a freak and shuts it down immediately. Second suggestion: the movie theater? She calls him an idiot. She'd already made it crystal clear that anywhere public was absolutely humiliating. So Kanan starts laying into him that something like this needs to happen in a room, with privacy. Then she stops, realizes what she just said, has a full internal meltdown. Yuji offers his room. Kanan, embarrassed that she let her imagination run that far, composes herself and says a date is fine, but she's only going to his room if his parents are home. Back at the window, looking down at the courtyard, Yuji shows up and asks if they can walk home together. Kanan, panicking, asks why on earth she would do that. Because we're dating, he says. That answer hits her like a dart. She goes beet red, thinks it over, and agrees, fully pretending she's the one calling the shots. Walking home, Kanan keeps falling behind, her heart going haywire just from being near Yuji. He asks why she won't walk beside him. She makes up the most unhinged excuse, that she could be the target of a random attack at any moment. Before she can spiral further, Yuji pulls her in close, and the demoness becomes a complete disaster. Trying to help, he reaches out for her hand so they can walk together. Kanan has an immediate meltdown. If they hold hands, she might end up pregnant. This guy has to be some kind of demon running an evil scheme, but if she refuses, he'll think she's scared. All of this is running through her head at 1,000 miles per hour. Kanan finds a solution: put Yuji on a leash. In this completely absurd moment, she feels like a girl out on a walk with her little dog and asks him how he's doing. He answers, totally happy that he's in paradise, that he loves being her little puppy. The demoness is absolutely floored. That is not what she was going for. So annoying. Stomping ahead in frustration, Kanan grumbles to herself about all this nonsense. That exhausting human wrecks every single plan she makes. Yuji calls out to her. She thinks it's in her head and keeps walking. Then she looks back and realizes she'd been dragging the poor guy along the ground the whole time. He says, all pumped up, that he's never had a walk like that before, and that he actually liked being a little pet. Kanan shouts that it was an accident. This was not pet play. The two of them at the park. Yuji says there's something he's always wanted to do there, with her. Kanan flashes back to what he said earlier and starts spiraling. Nope, he just wanted to eat a croquette. During the conversation, Kanan asks for a little sauce for hers. Yuji refuses, dead serious, saying the flavor of a croquette doesn't need any help. The demoness is thrown off, a guy this unhinged being this passionate about a croquette. But honestly, she kind of finds it adorable. She takes a bite and is genuinely surprised by how good it is. So is Yuji. And then he says something that actually makes her stop and think, "It tastes so much better because I'm eating it with you, Kanan." Down in hell, Kanan's dad is wondering how his daughter is holding up in the human world. That's when Ami, Kanan's maid and caretaker, shows up right in front of Beelzebub, surrounded by that ridiculous mountain of food, getting begged to do something about her mistress's situation. Meanwhile, Kanan kicks off her day bright and early. To pull off the whole normal human act, she planted herself inside a totally average human family. At breakfast, she cheerfully hits them with a good morning. The parents, the little brother, the whole crew. This is the family she's using as cover to blend into the human world. How'd she pull that off? Simple, dude. She put a spell on all of them, making them believe they've always had an older daughter. Kanan is about to head out to tend to her soul farm when she says goodbye to her fake family, where she's been playing the role of the perfect daughter. Then the dad snaps back to reality. Wait, when did they have a daughter? The mom too. When exactly did she give birth? And the little brother, completely lost. Who the heck is this girl calling him her little bro? Thing is, Kanan has to refresh the brainwashing every now and then, you know? And just like that, she heads out for another day managing her flock. Outside, Kanan's walking alone, staring up at the sky, straight up talking to herself, completely satisfied, dreaming up fun new ways to mess with human beings. Inferior creatures. What are humans to her? Nothing more than food. While she was filming that imaginary documentary in her head, some guy pops out of nowhere asking what the heck Kanan was doing talking to herself out in the open. It was Yuji. Kanan demands to know why he was even there. Isn't it obvious? Yuji is Kanan's boyfriend, but that's beside the point. The real question is, how did he know where her disguised hideout was? Their teacher told Yuji where she lived. Like, she just leaked Kanan's personal info without a second thought. Yuji's about to invite her to walk to school together, but Kanan beats him to it. She'll go with him if he can catch her, and she bolts. Walking next to Yuji would be so embarrassing, man. Too bad. Kanan is a demon, but her physical stats compared to a human's are absolute garbage. Yuji strolls up beside her cool as a cucumber, while Kanan is completely wrecked, gasping for air, with that horrific stamina of hers. To save face, she pulls out a classic excuse. A truly great woman, even a superior one, must walk 3 steps behind her partner. She says it all sophisticated-like, but Yuji keeps a straight face and says that's actually very wifely of her. Wife? Kanan pretends she already knew that. She looks away to hide the absolute disgust written all over her face. Dang it. Yuji offers her some water since Kanan looked completely wiped out, but he asks her to leave a little in the bottle because he wanted some too. Kanan stops to think. Hold on, did Yuji just want an indirect kiss through the bottle? She looks at him, looks at the bottle, totally flustered. But no way. She chugs the whole thing in one go, crushes the bottle, and tosses it in the trash. Not happening. At school, Kanan and Yuji end up walking together anyway, even though she wanted distance. Then someone calls out to her. Boing boing. It was Ami. Without a second thought, Kanan drags Ami in a full panic into an empty classroom. What are you doing here, you useless maid? Oh, what a question, right? Ami was there to keep Kanan company. Kanan shoves her aside, saying that's a load of nonsense. Yuji shows up right there asking who this was. Kanan gives in and answers. That was Ami, her live-in maid, who had also been taking care of her since she was little. Of course, Ami charmed her way past Beelzebub with all that charisma of hers. But honestly, the relationship between Ami and Kanan went way deeper than that, because they were childhood friends. Kanan absolutely did not want Yuji meeting Ami. Why? Because Ami is a shameless, thirsty succubus. Obviously, Yuji would fall head over heels the second he got a chance. Kanan immediately warns him to stay as far away from Ami as possible. She was a dangerous maid. Ami, already intrigued, asks Kanan to introduce them, but things get intense when she spots Yuji's soul. So radiant, Ami lunges at Yuji, completely drooling, but Kanan yanks her back instantly. That one's taken. Ami asks why. Kanan answers, dead serious, because Yuji is my boyfriend. Ami goes absolutely wild over that answer. Kanan is beat red. The lonely queen finally got a boyfriend? This is huge news. Ami starts poking at Kanan with a million questions. How far have you two gone? Did you go all the way? Tell me everything. Kanan answers with stars in her eyes. They walk together around the neighborhood and also shared croquettes at the park. Ami is crushed. A middle schooler's romance? Ami tries to give her a little push. Kanan's been around for thousands of years. What's she stalling for? Just let him put his hands on her commission. And she keeps going. If Kanan keeps dragging her feet, she'll swoop in and steal the prize. Yuji shuts Ami down, saying his girlfriend was Kanan, the loyalty bro. Kanan tells him to get over himself, but he was just stating facts. Ami says that's fine. She doesn't mind sharing. and asks Yuji to add her as his girlfriend too. Kanan freaks out. Ami can't do that. Ami keeps messing with her, throwing herself at Yuji, who then asks Kanan, "Am I turning into a total catch?" Which only makes Kanan even more furious. "You miserable little creature." Then Kanan notices a bunch of students collapsed all over the hallway, all looking like blissed out corpses, and that trail led straight to the study room. Kanan is already suspicious of Ami and rushes over. She throws open the door and Ami was getting it in with the teacher? Kanan walks out crying from the sheer embarrassment of catching Ami like that. What the heck is going on out in the hallway? Oh, humans? Ami answers like it's the dumbest question she's ever heard. But Kanan goes off, furious. That soul flock was hers. She raised them, looked after their well-being, kept them healthy, and she's completely beside herself that Ami got there first. Come on, she didn't even sample them. Ami says Kanan is way too slow. Kanan claps back that at least she has standards. Ami denies it. "I have standards." Kanan, about to explode, asks, "Why'd you go after the old guy? He's adorable. And that girl? Such a cutie. And the chubby one? So squishy and lovable. And the delinquent? He makes my heart skip." Kanan is seething. Ami really does go for literally anyone. But to Ami, they're all charming. The old man helped her out, the girl offered her delicious little cookies, the chubby guy was just so fun to squeeze, and the delinquent brought her some super emotional shoujo manga. Humans are just so wonderful. Kanan picks up on something genuinely good about Ami. She can see the best in people. Better yet, she only sees the best. Ami has always been popular, and now Kanan gets why. It even stings a little with envy. But even so, Ami is still guilty for that pile of knocked out students scattered all over the school. Kanan apologizes to Ami for not understanding her sooner, but she couldn't go messing with those students anymore. Wiping memories is a whole ordeal. So Kanan takes the opportunity to ask one thing. "Does Yuji seem attractive to you?" She gives this little puppy dog face waiting for the answer. Ami says she's not going to feed into Kanan's silly little jealousy. Kanan immediately denies it. She is not jealous. Yeah, right. Kanan starts pacing back and forth, all worked up over Yuji. She was scared he'd end up in Ami's clutches. Just the thought of it was pure torture. Then an idea hits her. Have Yuji work alongside her, supervising the students together. If he's by Kanan's side, there's no reason to worry about Ami, right? Kanan thinks Yuji is way too full of himself for such an inferior little being and completely spirals. Yuji feels a cold shiver run down his spine. It was just Kanan appearing behind him with a total demon face. Then a girl carrying a stack of papers walks by in the hallway and ends up dropping everything. Yuji goes to help the poor girl up, but when she looks at him, she's completely swept away. What a crush. The girl tries to ask Yuji for help, but Kanan cuts in immediately. Right now, he's not available. "Yuji, are you this popular with girls all the time? Jealous?" he asks. "I'm not jealous. Don't get the wrong idea." This is Ami pulling the strings behind the scenes, playing dirty. Another student comes running, late, and crashes into Yuji. Looks up at him and, "Oh wow, he's so cute." Kanan yells at them to keep moving. Another girl tumbles down the stairs. Yuji catches her in his arms and she immediately asks for his name. Kanan yells again. Then another student is flagged down by Yuji. He tells her she's got a piece of Naruto on her head. It's a hair clip, genius. But the girl thinks it's the most charming thing ever. What an interesting guy. Kanan loses it one more time. Are you living inside a rom-com right now? What is even happening? Girl after girl after girl. Does Kanan have to remind Yuji what he is to her? Boyfriend, he answers. Kanan is overwhelmed hearing Yuji say that so easily. Then Yuji gets text from Masurao. Kanan asks who that was. A childhood friend of his. Kanan reads the messages and every single word sends her into a new spiral. Yuji lights up reading Masurao's texts. Kanan is angry and heartbroken at the same time. This Masurao had no business acting like Yuji belonged to her. You miserable little creature. Leaving school, Kanan walks with her back to Yuji. He asks if she's mad. Kanan says no, but she immediately spins around and starts rubbing her head against him. "We have a thing, don't we? You're officially banned from looking at other girls. Full-on clingy girlfriend energy." Yuji laughs and says she's so cute when she's jealous. Kanan denies it, obviously, but she quickly melts under Yuji's spell. A little touch. Ah, what an incredible feeling. The little demon gremlin has been tamed. Ami watches it all from up on the school rooftop, thinking about how Beelzebub would react to finding out about Kanan and a human. But just seeing the look in Kanan's eyes was convincing enough to root for this love. Ami has her fun in her own way too. After all, the teacher got wrecked. Kanan was in full demon mode, no joke. The way she was staring at the table where her boyfriend was sitting with some other girl, you could feel the tension in the air. And from her little corner, Ami was watching everything in silence, probably hoping for absolute chaos. That encounter was about to turn into a bloodbath. Delicious. Yuji lit up the second he saw his girlfriend walk in. Dude probably thought it was fate or something. Kanan told Fate to go kick rocks because she only had one thing on her mind. Who was this girl sitting with her man? Yuji moved to introduce her, said her name was Masurao, but the girl cut him off to introduce herself as Nadeko. Nadeko, that childhood friend of Yuji's. Kanan immediately filed her under home wrecker. Nadeko was here to steal her man, simple as that. And to make it worse, Yuji and his little bestie were sitting there being all friendly in front of Kanan, like two happy nerds without a care in the world, beyond annoying. Nadeko tried to explain that the two of them had been inseparable since they were kids. Ami of course jumped right in and started digging for more details about this whole friendship. There had to be some good stories in there, right? Nadeko said it was nothing major, like they'd just play together at the park and have sleepovers. Sleepovers? The audacity. They literally slept together? Kanan had made her decision. She was going to destroy Nadeko right then and there. And Nadeko felt that dark energy immediately. Anyone would have. Kanan could spook literally any living creature. Nadeko leaned toward Yuji and whispered, "Who was this terrifying weirdo?" Yuji answered casually, "That was his girlfriend, Kanan." Everything clicked for Nadeko in an instant. That's why she was getting the death glare. Kanan had obviously taken the friendship the completely wrong way. Nadeko tried to clear the air. This friendship existed because of their parents. It was just a childhood thing. Kanan let the energy drop for a second and asked if Nadeko was trying to be slick about it. Nadeko rushed to explain herself again, but every single thing she said hit Kanan like a punch to the face. Close families, next-door neighbors, they go grocery shopping together. A date? Kanan told Nadeko to shut it, said she'd heard enough, but her rage had gone way past any normal level. Kanan started levitating like some kind of deity, grinning in the most unhinged way possible, describing in full detail exactly what she planned to do to Nadeko. This was serious. This was terrifying. Nadeko ran to Yuji for backup. The guy was completely hypnotized by Kanan's smile, mesmerized, head over heels, totally useless for any kind of rescue mission. Nadeko switched into full survival mode. She started going off about how Kanan and Yuji were the most perfect couple ever, the best, the most gorgeous. An absolute flood of compliments straight from someone who does not want to die today. Kanan wasn't buying any of it. Nadeko went back to Yuji. He was still on another planet. This was bad. Kanan was already gearing up to end Nadeko, who kept on talking, desperately trying to save her own skin. Then came Nadeko's last play. Kanan is Yuji's wife, and just like that, tamed. One word and it was over. Wild how fast that worked. Kanan walked up like she was about to compliment Nadeko's word choice, but then drew herself up with that sinister expression and called her a lowly little creature. A lowly little creature? Nadeko flinched, but Kanan was still giddy about being called a wife. What a scene. Nadeko was left with the most confused feeling. Nobody had ever called her a lowly little creature before. What even was that? That night, Ami was serving Kanan her tea, saying that whole thing earlier had been so entertaining. Oh, wait, actually the tea wasn't for Kanan. Ami told her to help herself. If it were up to Ami, that whole situation earlier would have been a full-on bloodbath. Stay tuned for next time. Kanan started venting about how inconsiderate Yuji was. Even while in a relationship, he was running around with other girls. She should have been the one having lunch with him. But Kanan caught herself and played it off, saying she was a superior demon who didn't share meals with just anyone. Still, it was bugging her. So why not grab her little brother, pull him into her lap, and use him as a stress ball? Ami started breaking down the situation. All this little dating game stuff could become a real problem for Kanan. If the goal was to devour Yuji's soul, it'd be way easier without feelings getting involved. Kanan had completely forgotten the whole point was the soul. But wait, this was actually an opportunity. If Kanan got Yuji to drop his guard, game over. Easy. Ami thought it was genius, but for it to actually work, they needed a date. Kanan got flustered immediately. No way. Did she really need to go on a date? Yes. A date was the fastest way to make someone fall for you. Plus, it's the most normal thing in the world for a couple to go out together. Ami started explaining the easiest way to ask someone out. Nom. Kanan shoved her away. She was absolutely not doing that with Yuji. Then at least just ask him to hang out. Was Kanan really going to let Yuji's little friend walk all over her like that? Ami pulled exactly the right string. Was a demon's daughter really going to lose to some basic human girl? Kanan was sold. She'd ask him tomorrow. She'd show Yuji what it meant to go out with a demon. Kanan's spellbound parents watched the whole thing from across the room and exchanged a look. When exactly did we adopt a maid? The next day, it was time for the ask. Ami was hyping her up from the sidelines. Do it without hesitating, Kanan. Kanan started off saying she had her weekend free, but when it came time to actually say what she wanted, her hands started shaking. The words wouldn't come out. The system crashed. Kanan was a nervous wreck. Nothing was happening. She bailed halfway through, tried to reset, but every time she got to the hangout together part, she froze up again. Hang out and throw hands is what actually came out. She tried again. Go out for a walk. Yuji took it his own way. She wanted to go out. walk around, and find someone to beat up, obviously. Kanan snapped, lost all patience, grabbed Yuji by the shirt and finally said, very clearly, that she was asking him out on a date. She gave him the place. She gave him the time. She let go and walked out of the room. She needed air. She'd finally asked Yuji out. Her heart was about 2 seconds from leaping out of her chest. Amy patted her on the head and told her she killed it. Finally, the date. They went to the Sky Tower, the tallest tower in all of Japan. Dude, super high up. Yuji was pumped. Kanan had her evil agenda locked in, make Yuji fall completely head over heels and hand over his soul without a fight. The plan was in motion. Yuji moved closer and said the view up there was beautiful, but that Kanan was even more beautiful. He looked her over and noticed something. No, actually, never mind. Kanan was ready to kick her terrifying plan into gear. She tried to wave Yuji over to the window. She tried to grab his hand. Crickets. She tried again. More crickets. Why was Yuji doing this? He always grabbed her hand. Oh, right. Yuji was scared of heights. Kanan just needed to give him a little push. She sidled up real close, all innocently asked what was wrong, whether maybe he was afraid of high places, and grabbed his arm. She wanted Yuji's heart racing. Except Kanan hadn't quite realized what was happening, until she pulled Yuji's arm, which sank straight into her very ample, very glorious chest. Kanan clocked it immediately. The floor disappeared from under her. Yuji asked the question. He knew it wasn't going to land well. Kanan tried to shut him up, but he didn't stop. Kanan, were you not wearing a bra? Kanan went full tomato. She'd been so nervous earlier that she'd completely forgotten to put one on. That's why Yuji kept looking away. Yuji asked if it had been on purpose. Kanan lied through her teeth. Yes, it was to get his heart racing. Demon strategy. Is your heart racing? She asked, looking absolutely done with herself. Through the roof, Yuji answered. Yuji had fallen right into Kanan's trap. The plan had been, date, no bra. Yuji even asked for another hug. Kanan was finished. There would never be a second time. Kanan had her face planted on the table while Yuji ate like everything was perfectly fine. He offered her a piece of takoyaki, told her to open up. Kanan thought it was ridiculous, embarrassing, but she caved. She braced herself, leaned in, opened her mouth. Nom. Okay, not bad, she'd admit that much. But Kanan was annoyed by the smug look on Yuji's face. Now it was her turn. She offered him a bite. And nom. Yuji got played. Kanan announced with full royal attitude that toying with lesser beings was just fun. She was not feeding Yuji. Yuji looked at her and said it made him happy to see her smiling, because she hadn't exactly been looking great before. Man, what a thing to say. Kanan couldn't look him in the eyes, and that's when it hit her. She was catching feelings. Yuji went even further, said he'd do anything to see her smile. Kanan felt something twist inside her. She was planning to devour this guy's soul, and she felt just a little bit bad about that. She let herself smile. She didn't fully understand what she was feeling, but until she figured it out, she'd leave Yuji's soul right where it was. She held up the takoyaki and asked for a do-over. Yuji got emotional. He'd been bracing for something way worse, so thank God it was just that. Kanan said it was nothing like that, and then a very long argument started.